So welcome to the Node.js NodeAPI team meeting for November 12th, 2021. We'll follow our standard approach of looking at the milestones. So I will share that. Here we are. Okay, so the first one is the review of the Node serial port. I know a few people have been looking at that. I don't know who wants to jump in this week and if there's any news.
I haven't checked, but I guess I'll do that.
Okay, well, I know last time you were chatting with them, getting some more details and stuff. So if there's nothing new, we can move on to the next one. We'll start to look at the stale issues. And I will go backwards from the bottom one. So this one, access violation and typed array. I think we had a brief discussion last time, but I think in the end, it was just we need to find some time to triage this issue and help move it forward. And I didn't get time this week to do that, so I don't have any update. I don't know if anybody else has anything else. If not, it's good. It's on our list. It'll remind me at least to try. Let's look at this one, 1029. Right, we did discuss this one last time in terms of like driving tests. We did ask a question, which I think is a very good question. So I don't think we really have anything more to discuss on that unless we get more feedback from the poster.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we have this one, which I know we were gonna relook once 1075 lands.
Yes.
And is this one, I know we discussed last time, I think about some reviews, right?
Yep. So I think I addressed most of the comments, minus one, where it's like, I think Kevin and someone else suggested to use a symbol to sort of replace that magic value.
Yep.
And I tried with that implementation and ran into some issues, in particular, like when I create that symbol, and because I'm using like symbol 4, which basically returns a new symbol if like the description doesn't exist,
Yep.
or return a one already in place. But the thing is that one sometimes like when it basically like gets the global object and then gets the symbol property on that global object and then calls the function on the object to basically create the 4 that way. But the issue is that sometimes when I call like get, it will throw a NodeAPI pending exception. And so when I'm running like code, for example, error terminating environment.js, this is part of the swallow exceptions. So when we swallow exceptions, this will still, I think, bubble up and so crash. So I'm not sure if I'm doing anything wrong there or like there's anything we can do about that.
When you said when you do the get on what? Like trying to get the symbol on the object?
Yeah, so if you look at the symbol 4 implementation from the
yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So it's that the symbol 4 converting from the string to a symbol is where you're getting a problem, right?
Actually, I meant like it's like the actual implementation for symbol, like symbol 4. Yeah.
Right, but it's if I'm understanding, it's because when you're trying to get the property,
yeah,
you also figure out what the symbol is by looking that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
and because it must work in some places, but then it's not working in the failure path, right?
Yeah, in the error terminating environment case, when like we're supposed to swallow exceptions, it crashes because I think it causes a NodeAPI pending exception and like it kind of is really messy.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we could get the symbol up front somewhere and store it. And as opposed to doing the 4 every time, just use that stored, from.
We need instance data for that, which means we'd have to hijack the user's instance data.
Okay.
So which is fine, but that's kind of, but then we are basically saying the user is now committed to only using env dot get instance data instead of using the core API directly, which we have allowed so far.
We can't
So-
store it in the object itself. Does that make any sense?
object?
I'm not looking at the code.
Well, we are asked to generate an error object, right, from scratch, basically,
right,
right? So then the only thing we have is the environment, right?
right, okay.
Oh, I think
Sorry,
Lucas wants
Michael.
to jump.
Oh,
There
it's
is
promote. Okay, sure. I should open up that window participants. Okay, hold on. I need to open that right. It seems to me that seems like a lot of hoops, like to basically stick things in and potentially interfere with the instance data and all that.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of extra complexity to solve would be nice. Like the symbol makes it better, no question. But how much better versus how much more complexity is a question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we make the property like not visible and not deletable, then that's as good as it gets. And yes, the object will be decorated with this really ugly looking property, but it is what it is.
Right. And the likelihood of somebody that GUID's pretty unique. The likelihood of somebody accidentally coming up with the same thing is, next to zero.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's.
I mean, we can make this even more unique by appending like node add-on API is wrapped object, because then we're namespacing it in
Sure.
addition to making it super duper unique.
So maybe we just use that GUID. Maybe maybe adding in the Node API. Although I mean with the GUID, I don't know. But we could add in Node add-on API to that is wrap object.
Yeah.
And then we can just put a comment that says, we tried to use a symbol, but actually converting the symbol, the string to a symbol, we can't do that in the failure case. So, we don't do that.
Seems very messy. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I'll do that.
Sounds good. So maybe if you make that update and then just do like an app mention for the people who've been involved, so we get a notification.
Okay, sure.
Maybe we might get that automatically, but that'd be like the signal, like, okay, let's get the final review and get it landed.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, no, that's good then. So so basically nothing to discuss until we get that landed, and we'll take another look at it. So that's our stale issues. Tracking for modules that are ported, nothing new there, although we always take the chance to node add-on. Oops. I guess that almost got me there anyway. It's interesting, there's a little dip. Are these the numbers,
yeah, it's the number of add-on is increased because
yeah. Wow, 1,215 dependencies already.
So, but it's interesting. Like, I wonder, like, it seems to go up and down, and let's see here. Yeah, no, that one, okay. So there's no real dip there. So interesting. We'll see if that persists.
Maybe the dip is not proportional to their download numbers. You won't even see the dip when the numbers are so high.
Yeah, I just wonder sometimes, like when this has happened in the past, I look to see.
Yeah, and everybody got dipped, yeah.
Right, like, because you see here, NAN went from 22 million down to 20 million.
Yeah, they lost 2 million just as we did.
So sometimes that goes away. Like, I think there's some funniness as to when you look at it. So anyway, we'll look next week to see if that's a persistent thing or not. But okay. Sorry. Let me go back to our here. Creating a matrix of tested methods. So Jack, I don't know if you have anything you want to update on that front.
No, but I just want to curious about like the scope of this. Is this just a matrix of test methods, or is it more like just like have full coverage of everything? Because if it's a matrix, I think we have that already in our issues, but if it's sort of full coverage, we still need work on it.
Yeah, maybe we should change that, right?
Yeah.
because definitely it sounds like so. What I'd be interested in is, do we think it makes sense that like I know you've done a bunch of work, we got issues opened, we've got things we talked about like tagging them as good first issues.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're at the point where like trying to promote that a little bit, we could write a little blog post, which is like, hey, you know, over the last 6 months, we put in about, you know, effort to try and, you know, identify where we could use some more tests and use some more help. And these are a good place for you to start to get involved and like, and then point to the issues, you know, because if I come to this issue, I still may not quite sure know how to get involved, right? Where we probably now have a bunch of issues in a query we could come up with, right? Like all these things. And we could point to, so I'm just wondering, like, do we think it's a good time to write up something and do some promotion to say, hey, look, we did this work. If you want to help, here's a good place to get started.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
So is that something you'd be interested in, like writing a blog post, and then we could work with the social team or the OpenJS to get it published?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So why don't we create a in here, and so maybe let's create a new issue, which is like drive towards full coverage, right? And we can tag that with the 11, and then next steps 1. Yeah, I think that would be good. So I'll create that one. That'll be tagged for the agenda. So if we go back to here and refresh, I think I will put that here and see, can I move this? And this one will say we've opened issues for all of the tests we need to add. Closing, follow on, and this one, right? Okay. Because yeah, I think that's you're right. That's a better way to cast it in.
Okay.
Any other next steps you think that we can think of, other than like, of course, actually filling in the issues or whatever? But
I think that should be good for now.
yeah. Okay. Great. And so yeah, once you have a draft, you know, if you want some feedback and whatever, let the rest of us know. And sorry, Nicola, you wanted to add something?
No, I don't know if Jack is in the team. So in NodeAPI repo, and so
right. So maybe I should do that.
I think that yeah, we should add him to the active members.
Yeah, sounds good. Node.js.
I don't know the how these things works, but yeah.
So yeah, I can add. So I'm gonna say, okay, how do I? Is that the plus? Add a member, right? Now, what's your GitHub?
Handler.
It's
Handle?
JCK.
JCK.
XIA.
Sorry, XA.
IA. Yeah.
XIA, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's first.
Okay, so right. The other thing that you should do, if we go back to here, is like PR yourself into this list of people.
Okay.
And in node.API.
And
Same.
yeah, exactly. And node.API as well. And let me just go over there to, I mean, normally we should probably do it the other way around, but like, I don't think anybody's going to complain. So I'd rather do this now, and we can just land the PRs then, and unless anybody's got a concern with that. Let's see, settings, access. Okay, so that actually should add you to both.
Okay.
I think that was the one I just added you, NodeAPI, right? So that should give you access, right access to both of the two repos. If there is something you don't have access to, let me know and I'll fix that up too.
Michael, there is Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where did I open that? There we go. Oh, and Deepak too. So thanks for pointing that out.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I was late.
Oh.
Meeting.
No problem. Good to see you here. Get Deepak promoted too, I think.
Okay. Because he has some news about
Right.
Yeah, we just talked about tests. So
Yep. So Deepak, do you have any updates on the work you're doing? I know.
Hey, Michael. No, unfortunately, sorry, I didn't have much chance to work on this. I'll continue to work on work with Gabriel and close this before the next meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
okay.
Yeah, once the review is done, sort of, you can mention me or whatever. I'm happy to go through and get it landed.
Okay.
Just was just sort of waiting on getting everybody else who's got some comments to, once they're done, we'll do that. Okay, so let us go back to, if I go forward, am I going to go back? No. Okay, I'm going to just go back to, I can go there to issues, milestones, milestone 11. Okay. So then we're now just down to burning down issues in the repo themselves. So I don't know if there's any ones that people want to call out for us to start with. Talk about.
Yeah, we have two new issue.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
What what I understood here is that implementing the binding, he experimenting the some latency, you know, on calling the function, and this overhead seems to be caused by the number of the functions. So more larger is the library, and more high is the overhead. I don't know if it's.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of off the top of my head any reason why more exports would be slower.
Essentially, it's not clear to me if he did the same thing with the module exporting the 13 function, and then the really same things using the model with 475 functions.
Right.
So because maybe he with the module with the 13 function, he just tried to do something, and he saw that okay, it works, and now it's time to create the add-on, no? So this is not clear to me, and
Yeah, I was like, it's unexpected, I think. Like, I think I
Yeah.
can see his initial question would be, which I might ask, like, do you expect this, or is this a known issue? So that's sort of the first question we can answer is like, oh yeah, this is just something we expected, or no, this doesn't make sense to us. Can you help us investigate a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, and I'm just thinking through, like, each function is kind of separate, right? Like in the end.
The only thing I can think of here is that an object with lots of properties is slower at retrieving a given property than an object with few properties, because you're retrieving a property named function name from an object named export. So if that object has, what is it, initially 13 functions, then it may have to traverse a smaller list to find the function by its name. One experiment that this person could perform is to assign each property of the add-on of the exports object to a local variable, and then call the functions using that local variable, rather than by saying like exports dot function name, right? Because then there's no property lookup. That may be faster for them. So yeah,
Right.
what is it? You can do that very conveniently in JavaScript. You can just deconstruct the object. So you can say, like, you know, brace function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4, unbrace equals exports, you know, and then you have like 475 different variables, but then you just call them.
Right.
But the lookup impact only at the first execution. Is it right?
I don't know how V8 handles property lookup.
Okay.
If it optimizes it after the first execution, or if it does any kind of optimization on it. But it stands to reason that if you have an object with 475 properties, accessing one of them ought to be slower than if you have an object with 13 properties. That may be why it's slower. And this seems to be a super performance sensitive application, given that it's graphics related. So even such a small thing may make a difference. Like normally you don't care, but in this case you probably might.
Yeah.
Just writing up the lookup of the function on the object could get longer based on the number of properties, and possibly the lookup, and possibly it might be harder for V8 to optimize
yeah, exactly.
when those properties are a native function.
Yeah. You said which those properties are. Did you mean to say that? Because you said when, but you wrote which.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I meant when. Thank you for finding that. If I could only just get my brain to always be connected properly to my fingers. It might be harder for the V8 to optimize when those properties are native function. Thanks. Yeah, and a good experiment might be to try doing the following, like try getting
saving the properties into local variables and then calling those.
Leo is out of office.
Once at the start, and then calling saved values.
Yeah.
it depends, like this might not make sense given the use case, right? Like if you get a different object and you want to call the one on that object.
Well, if it's well, no, I mean anything can be plucked from the exports object, right? And then the only difference is you're not saying like exports dot blah, you're saying blah directly, and that should be fine, right?
Oh yeah, you
And
can do that, but like I'm thinking like in a case where you create a whole bunch of objects. So say you have 1,000 different objects, each of which, you know, you may pass to different paths, and eventually when that object gets into one of the call paths, you want to then call one of the methods, right?
Right, but there is only one exports object, right? Like if let's say the exports object contains a constructor for a class, right? Because that's the add-on provides a JavaScript class, right? And that construct or instances of that constructor have 475 methods, then yeah, then you've got a problem.
Right. Okay. Got
But
it.
the
So yeah, it
exports
may
object
not.
itself can be broken up into local variables. And I
Right.
think he's talking about the exports object. So I think we're lucky in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not actually an object, right? That makes a lot of sense then to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the properties from the exports object.
Yeah. Maybe give an example of that deconstruction.
So
I
for
can add the
example,
example.
okay.
I can add the example. So I can just. Yes, good. Yeah. Okay. So let me. Where is this? Node that on API. Let me quickly type.
I'll just say you'll add one following the meeting.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I guess I could see that maybe it's just the pure JavaScript side of things, and that might. Okay. Okay, so there was that one you said, and then there's also this one.
As if we can, one of the function will launch search customers by contact email. So how do we?
Okay, so this is very specific.
And was able to create a customize the search the UI, but it's only able to have a fixed email, and then try to.
We can hear somebody's background, not that it's bothering, but.
As you cannot have data search.
There must be some JavaScript that goes along with this too, right?
Oh, sorry, I'm still writing that comment.
Right. I'm just looking at the next. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this one, maybe we just need to spend a bit more time looking at. It might be good to get the full thing to be able to run it even. So maybe I'll add that as a comment. Does that make sense?
Oh, this is external array buffer. Oh, once more, we are allocating in a tight loop, it would seem, and not getting a chance to garbage collect on the surface of it.
And then maybe it runs out of memory and
Oh, no,
that's why it
there is some
terminates.
free there. Oh, no,
Yeah.
there are some frees in there, so we're good-ish. Of course, if the allocation outpaces the freeing, then we are still in trouble. But I mean, it's the best we can do with garbage collection.
The comment is that it terminates at some point, but yeah, I guess what you're saying is maybe it's memory related, right?
It might get killed, yeah.
So we could say, yeah, 10 milliseconds. I guess that's still a thread sleep for. So we might ask there if I don't know if that makes any sense. That seemed like a reasonable comment.
Let's see.
Looks good to me.
Yes.
Okay, because yeah, it sort of terminates at allocating. So yeah, good point. That maybe it's just running out of memory. Yeah, okay. That's a good. Let's look at the next.
The next is API create syntax error, and now we have the pull request on the node core.
Right. Okay. So right. So and there's been some discussion on that, and so I think that's moving along, right?
Yeah, I reviewed something and it seems okay for me.
Nice.
Okay. So yeah, I'd taken a look, and you had a good suggestion there in terms of the, and it's guarded by experimental, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll take another look through afterwards as well. But okay, yeah, thanks for helping to move that one forward. Let's see. This one, I think Kevin had asked some things, right? So I know Kevin and Lucian DeCast, you've been talking about that one a little bit, right? So I think we're working on that one.
I haven't worked on this since posting that comment. I did read this though. Using progress data available. So I mean, what I'm reading from this comment is it just sounds like we need to have a differentiation between progress events and signal user initiated signals. And then inside there, because I guess we have some null pointer checks, and that's because signal is sending null pointer as the data. Maybe if we use some sort of different object for the signal, then we can identify that it is user initiated instead.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a Boolean flag might be good, since signal is just very simple actions. Either way, it's fine. We just need to distinguish the signal action.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I just hopefully I can have some time to work on this. I have another company event next week for the whole week, so I don't know if I'll have any time, but if I do, I'll try to work on this some.
So
Okay, sounds good.
Mind.
So this, I mean, are we breaking ABI here? Like if we just add some stuff? I don't know off the top of my head.
No, because like the signal call was never working in the first place. Like no code could have compiled correctly with signal call because it was being constant and can't be const.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so if we modify how signal works, I think it should be fine.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so we actually have a bug.
Yes, and there's a separate PR for that. I think there's a separate PR or a separate issue. It was from a different contributor or a different person.
Right, it was like asking to make it const or non-const or fixing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and it was like, I think we discovered we didn't have a test for it. And then it was like, well, wait a sec. Yeah, it was kind of like signal could never have worked. And that's like, okay, well, that means, yep, we don't have a test. So that's consistent with that. And
right. And then since he then made signal compilable by changing it to non-const, then he saw that signal was not even triggering the progress call. So that's what this issue is for.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can figure it out.
okay. Yeah, but it gives us the ability to like, yeah, we won't be breaking anybody, with whatever we figure out because they couldn't have been working in the first place.
Right.
Okay. No, if there's any others that, so there are some back and forth, but nothing really new. I don't think we necessarily need, unless there's ones people want to call out. Okay. So can I click here? So this one we already talked about. This one I think we've talked a bit about a few times. Right, we said we could do some, okay. So that's one I probably said I'd take a look at, but haven't done yet. So that's me making myself a reminder to do that. Sorry, I'm just doing this off screen, hopefully. Okay. Okay, go. Now I'm. Now I've hung. Oh. There we go. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, there's nothing new there. Let me take the, yeah, it just is open. So any other things then we should talk about, or?
Sorry, I think I have a PR up for that, for the inside Node core. That's
Yep.
kind of, I think as a CI kept failing, so I'm not sure what else there is.
Yeah, which one is that one again? It's
40552. Yeah, that one.
yeah, so let me,
I'm not quite sure.
I've been trying to get a number through, and let's see, I think like Windows, I'm just gonna start like a whole new CI on this.
Okay.
And we'll see if we can
also
get that
need a
through.
rebase. Sometimes a rebase helps.
Okay, I'll read this.
Yeah, okay, if you want to rebase and then
Yeah,
let me
that'll
know,
kick
I'll
it
try
off
and
anyway.
restart, because there were some changes,
Mhm.
like in terms of like expiry dates to
Oh.
like time, I mean, Windows, I think like some of the timeouts and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try rebasing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Anything else we should talk about this week? If not, thanks for everybody's time, and we'll see you in GitHub and next week.
Bye, guys.
Okay.